Hello, my name's Linda and this is my kitchen garden. Well, here we are, June. Welcome to June. Who'd have thunk it? So we're here. We didn't think that we were going to be having such a lovely spring like we did. Beginning of the year, we was all worried that it was going to be the same as last year, where we had loads of rain and loads of slugs and nothing to harvest virtually. Anyway, we're here. So June, I am going to take you around my little garden, my small back garden. It's a little bit windy today. I live in Blackpool on the coast, so I am on a seaside coast on the northwest coast of England, in a small town called Blackpool. Now I have a very small back garden. My back garden is 30 square metres. It is 6 metres long from back to front and 5 metres wide. So it's only very tiny. So I'm going to show you today what I grow. I'm going to give you a full tour of my small back garden. It's cottage style, so most of my stuff is all mixed. So I've got lots of vegetables mixed in with a few little flowers. And then at the front of my garden, I've got about 6 square metres where I'm growing most of my stuff in pots. So let's take you on a tour and show you what my garden's all about. So I'm going to start off by showing you just through the window, because it's easier if I show you here, my chilies and my peppers. So I've got peppers growing in pots. They need a bit of a water. These are overwintered. So as you can see, they're flowering really well. You can get close enough there. So I've got plenty of flowers. And we've got peppers growing. Got more pepper plants than what I thought. I thought some of them were chilies actually. So that's those. They're overwintered chilies. I've not sown any chili seeds this year, just overwintered my last year's chili plants that didn't do very well because the weather wasn't great. So let's have a look over here. So these are Tumbling Tom tomatoes. I've got these in a planter, in a like a trough style planter. Well, it's not even a planter, it's a trough. So what I've done is I've lined it and then I've filled it with compost. These are an indeterminate. You can see there's little tomatoes growing already. They're only a cherry tomato, these, and they're a determinate variety. So they're a bush variety. So they'll only grow a certain size and then they'll fruit and then they'll hang over. So these are great for baskets and for growing in containers and on, like I've done, on a fence there. And then this contraption here is like a box that had like slates delivered in it, you know, for flagging, like flagstones delivered in. And I thought, do you know what? It's one of my neighbours. And I thought, do you know what? I can use that. So I took it and I've made this into a planter. I've lined it all. So as you can see there's lining. And I've put this in a corner. Now all this has got lettuce. This bit here of my garden, this end bit here, is shade. Because the sun comes up that way and sets over there. So it sets to the west. So this is all shaded, this area. So it gets partial sun. And in here I've put salad. So all these are salad crops. So there's lettuce, rocket, and I've actually planted some, there's a bit of spinach at the back it's actually going to seed before it's even grown. There. And I've got some little gems that I bought from the garden centre. Getting a bit chewed, but they should be alright. They'll probably make it. It's just that it's been very rainy this week, so it's not guaranteed when it rains, because that brings the slugs and the snails to life, doesn't it? And then next to this planter here, I've got my potatoes. Now these are all main crop varieties. I've not sown any planted any early varieties this year, any early potatoes. I did last year, but I didn't have great harvest, so I just thought I'd stick with the main crop varieties. So the ones with the purple leaves there, they're purple rain. They're a purple potato, those. And the ones at the back that haven't got the purple leaves, over there, they are lily rose. So they're a red potato. I like growing different varieties because you can't buy them in the shops and in the supermarkets. So I think it's nice to have different vegetables, and I love colour. So if you can grow colourful vegetables, it just makes food interesting, do you not think? And then in this bed, I've done it. I might have to reorganise this next year for this bed. I'm having to reach through. Didn't think of that, did I? So I've put this archway here. I've put an archway there. And I put it on the edge of the bed. And now I've got stuff growing behind, and I have to reach round or reach through to get to the stuff that's behind. I have planted onions in the back. If you can see there, I've got exhibition onions at the back there, so I'm not going to need those anyway. So by the time that they're ready, all these climbing vines will all be done. And I've got some beetroot planted there. And then they're spring onions that I can't reach. I've just harvested some bolted spinach that was at the back there. But I had to reach right through to get it, so I've definitely not thought that one through, have I? And then I've got some chard there. So I've got rainbow chard, and that's all growing at the back. But again, I think it's going to bolt. I think it's trying to go to seed. So I'll pick some of that. And I've got some spinach there. Not spinach. Some more chard there. And then I've got some beetroot down there. I've also got some tomatoes planted everywhere. So tomatoes are planted everywhere. Now, these beans here, so this, I've mixed them up. So you can see now that the weather, because it's raining, everything's getting a bit chewed now. Now, I don't suffer. I've told you before, I don't suffer with slugs in my back garden. I do get them. I don't get very many, though. I get loads of snails because I have lots of frogs in my garden, and they keep my slug population right down. But now, I think the snails are taking over. I have these little tiny snails with colourful shells. They're not even your bog standard snails. They're quite pretty, actually. But they get whizzed over the fence, and I've got a hedgehog in the area, and that scoffs them up. So, yeah, look. All there, chewed. But they're still going. So this end is cobra. These are a French bean. And they're growing. So they're getting there. The rain that's been coming down the last few days has been absolutely tremendous for my plants, because rainwater is full of nutrients that you can't get from just using tap water or a hose pipe. And I haven't got a rain collector, you know, a water butt. I need to get one really. But again, we're being chewed, but they're still growing. And then this variety here is violet. These are purple beans. The purple ones always do great. They did great last year on my allotment. And they grow really well. And I just give them a little hand and help them along, wind them round so they know where to go. And the same there. But these are different varieties of beans. So on this side here, I've got my big beans. So I've got butter beans. I've got a variety of butter bean. I've got ballotti beans. Yeah, ballotti. And I have, do you know what? Somewhere in there, I've planted a gourd, you know, a pumpkin. But I don't know whether it's been eaten. I can't find it. So if I start getting a pumpkin vine up, then win-win. But these are doing really well after the rainfall as well. And then I'll take you around the other side. And I've only got 2, so I've got 4 archways over that side there. And then I've got 2 archways over this side. And again, these are all French beans. So I have got yellow variety. I don't know where I've planted those. But this side was the worst actually for getting munched. But while we're here, I'll show you what's in this bed here. So this is a raised bed as well. There. Shut the door. And it's lined. So I've just put some visqueen around the side so that it doesn't rot the wood. So that's non-permeable plastic. Are you with me? It's like a visqueen type. It's not a weed membrane. And then there's nothing at the bottom. So it can drain. So the soil can drain properly. So it's a good drainer. So I've got some, I think it's called Dragon's Tongue Rocket in there. Or is it arugula if you're not in the UK? And then I've got a lettuce there. Looks a bit sad, but I'm sure it'll pick up. And then I've planted some black radish here. They seem to be doing all right. But look, right, you're off. Get off. You're not eating my plants. You ready? Bye. So it's had a good rain today, and saying I don't have many slugs, and now I'm going to find a million slugs, aren't I? These are onions that are in here, and because of the wind, they've all got a bit bent and a bit windswept, but they're growing really well. Yeah, this variety of onion is Ailsa Craig. There. And then I've got various varieties of peas that are all growing at the back. There, along the fence. And as you can see, there's absolutely loads and loads of pods. They're not quite ready. I keep picking the odd one that are full. But then I usually eat them before they even get inside. So they're not going to last, are they? In my belly. Thank you very much. So as you can see, there's lots and lots of pods there. Last year on the allotment, I grew carling peas, which is like a black pea. But I've not grown them this year because I was just trying to suss out my space, really. So in the back there, I've got strawberries. And I've had a couple of pickings already, and it's still producing some strawberries. This is an old strawberry plant that I've repotted. There's one there, and there's a few strawberries in there as well. So yeah, I've had a few pickings off those, but they're an old strawberry plant that I repotted. And then there I've got pumpkin. This is from the garden centre, and it's a munchkin. So I had baby boos, and I planted all 3 baby boos, got eaten. And they're doing all right, so I've got 2 there, look. Got 1 there as well. So I'm hoping that they climb up with the French beans and they all work together on the little archway there. And then in this planter, which goes in the middle of the garden, so if you have a look from this end, it goes down the middle there. And I've got tomatoes here. Now, this variety is called Crimson Crush, and it's a blight resistant variety. So if you live in an area where you're prone to get blight or an allotment, then these are great for outdoor. Although I did plant some on my allotment last year and they got absolutely battered in the wind, so I rescued them, brought them home, put them in a pot, and they did fantastic, and I got loads and loads of tomatoes off them. They really cropped well, so they're a heavy cropper, these, if you want to try those next year. Crimson Crush, those. And I have no idea what's going on with my celeriac, but that is not looking good, is it? So I'm going to say that that's a massive fail. That's just, you win some, you lose some, don't you? Don't know whether it's not getting enough sun. Don't know, but it's not doing good. That's for sure, because the sun is on that side. If you do, this is my first time growing celeriac, so if you know anything about celeriac or where it should be positioned, then do let me know. And can I move it? Would it be okay to move it? Maybe I'll move it. I don't know. Let me know on that one. Can celeriac be moved? Because I don't know. It's my first time growing, and that does not look like a healthy plant. And we'll just go to the pots. So here we've got caterpillars everywhere. So this is sacrificial cabbage plant. This is a Asturian tree cabbage, this plant here. And they're a perennial, but I don't like it. It's got virtually no flavour whatsoever. It's not a great cabbage. It's very bland flavour. So they can have it, because obviously we need our butterflies. They're really important, and we need our insects, don't we? And I quite like them. They're quite cute, aren't they? And then I've got courgettes. So courgettes are in there. They're growing really well. Got 2 there. And then I've harvested, do you remember I had garlic in these 2 planters here? I took this up yesterday. So I think they've done all right, actually. I'm quite pleased with them. They're a decent size, aren't they? So much better than the allotment anyway. So those were out of those 2 tubs there. And I've used the soil and just planted something else in there. So in there now there's radish, and in that one there's lettuce and 2 tomato plants that were strays. So they're in there as well. I've got herbs and weeds in that one. And that's my peony, however you say it, peony. So that's finished flowering now, but this year, for the first year ever, I got flowers on it, because it really struggled, but it's done all right this year. Then I've got onions there, and onions, but they're more for like spring onions, those, because I crammed them all together. Then they're chives in the middle. They've gone a bit thick, and then I've got garlic chives on the end, and I've got sage and mint and curly leaf parsley, and then at the bottom there I've got tarragon, and then at the back there I've got broad beans, and these are just crop. What a heavy cropper. I've had loads of these. So these are, for me, are finished. So I'm going to give them another few days. The next nice day I get, they're all being cut. They're all going to come up. So what I do with broad beans is, because they're really rich for the soil, is I cut them off at the base and I leave the root in the soil. And then my cabbages are all going to go in there. So that's going to be this week. I'm going to take those up this week. So when I see you next week, they'll be gone. This potato in the middle there is Lily Rose. Still no flowers yet. As I said, the main crop. So I'm not expecting them to be ready just yet. And then my broccoli there is looking really healthy. I'm worried it's going to bolt and it's going to split. I think that's could split. It doesn't look as tight. So I might chop those off in the next few days. I'll keep my eye on them though. That's the good thing of growing in your back garden, is that you can keep your eye on your crops. When you're on an allotment, you can't. I'm just poking through there. There's some nasturtium. They can stay there. So they're a self-seeder. And there's nasturtiums at the end there, poking through. And a few weeds. I'm not bothered about weeds. And then the cauliflowers, still no sign. I don't want to see a sign just yet. And I've also got some kale in there as well, kaleettes. But they're for winter, so I shouldn't see any sign of those really yet. And these at the end are red kohlrabi, purple kohlrabi at the end. And they, you see the stalk there, that'll bulb, that'll go into a big bulb and it'll look like sort of an alien, but they have like a mild cabbagey flavour, but quite a hard texture. So they make the most amazing coleslaw. So if you like making your own coleslaw, that is definitely one to grow. In the troughs there I've got strawberries, but these are the first year I've put these in, so you don't get big crops off your first year of strawberries. Your second year you'll get a crop, and then your third year you'll get much more. And I've got two troughs there, and there are strawberries appearing there, but they will be quite small. They won't be huge strawberries, so next year it should be better. Now you see I've took all the tops off here off my, took all the tops off my raw beans. They'll go in a stir fry with garlic and butter. Beautiful. Broad beans and field beans are also called green manure because they feed your soil. So I'm hoping that putting my cabbages in that soil, when all these come up, my cabbages will be massive. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Let's go in the greenhouse. Welcome to the jungle. Aren't they amazing? Does anyone sit in the greenhouse and just stare at the plants and talk to them and stuff? I do. Does that make me weird? So, I have got some great looking tomato plants in here. They're producing lots of flowers. I've even got some lovely tomatoes appearing as well. So I'm going to give them a bit of a... with my tomatoes, I don't chop them right back because I like them. I think it's everyone to their own, isn't it? It's your own preference. But I quite like a bushy tomato plant. I don't want it too bushy, so I take all the little stems out of the corners, you know, the side shoots. I take all those out because I want the growth, but I don't take all the leaves off. I just take the leaves off around the bottom. God, wait, I'm getting tangled here. So if I show you, so there's nice good airflow underneath. There's no leaves on the bottom. I've took all those off. But yeah, they look amazing, don't they? And then in my planter here, I've already harvested pak choy from them, spring onions. This is my second lot of spring onions that are coming up here. This is a cauliflower. I thought I'd give cauliflower a go. I don't know whether it'll work, but you know, I'm all for experimenting. And then these are green kohlrabi here. That's a green kohlrabi. Kale. Yeah, I've just took all the kale off because we've had it for tea, so I've air fried the kale. It's like seaweed. If you just spray a little bit of oil on, just to spray oil on kale, take them off the middle stalk, spray some oil on them, just to spray, a light spray, and then a light sprinkle of salt, and then put them in an air fryer or in your oven. Chop them all up, put them in your air fryer. They'll disintegrate to next to nothing, but they're delicious. They're like crisp. They go crispy. And these are my, if you remember, I planted the peas, the store-bought dried peas. I put those in there. So these are pea shoots. So if you want to grow these for a salad, they taste like a mild pea flavour. They're absolutely lovely. And they take no time at all to grow. So when you're taking them off, I just cut them. I cut them like about there. So, and then that will grow again. And then that is your pea. That's your pea shoot. And you pop that on your salad. So you can take them off if you want and just have the leaf, or I just chop them all up and put them on my salad. I'll eat that now. Lovely. Tastes like peas. Yeah, so that's that really. That's it. And there's a kale at the back there as well. Like it's like a Cavolo Nero, but it's a paler one. It's a kale. And then these are all my cabbages. So I've had to repot these because I don't want them to get pot bound. I don't want the roots getting too tight. These are all red cabbage, and it's all for pickling. So I'll be doing pickled red cabbage with all these. And these will be going where my broad beans. So as soon as my broad beans come up, then they're going in there. That's where they're going. And I've got sprouts. The white Burbank. White Burbank is the like purple sprouting broccoli, which is white. So it's like a cauliflower, and that's for spring next year. What else have I got? I've got some green sprouting broccoli at the back there. This is a scarlet borecole that I sown not so long ago. This is a borecole as well. There. So it'll look like that, but it'll be more pinky, purpley. And then these are my Cavolo Nero, which are a must. I have Cavolo Nero every year. And they're just essential because I love them. They're so tasty. I love them as a winter crop. Some more calendula, which I need to really find some places for. I've got some leeks there. I've got leeks scattered all over the garden. And these need to go somewhere, so I need to find a home for them. and my carrots. So all my carrots are doing fantastic, but I do keep finding giant slugs. They're in here, so I have to keep checking them because slugs love the shoots from carrots. So this is why I don't thin mine out, because the slugs will probably thin them out for me. So if you can see down there, I pulled one off yesterday. Don't know whether you can see it, but there's the slime, the snail, silver glistening in the light. This is climbing up the string. There is a melon. I am not expecting to get any melons off that because it's tiny. But you never know. This is a strawberry plant that I did from seed. I planted those seeds. I didn't think it'd work, and then all of a sudden they took off. So that's the first time I've ever grown strawberries from seed. So they won't really produce anything till next year. This is Mizuna lettuce here. Mizuna is like a sweet, this is a sweet lettuce leaf. So it's not bitter, it's really nice, it's sweet. If you don't like, the bitter varieties, like chard's quite bitter. This is a nice one. So even though it looks a bit, but I think it's an Asian lettuce, but it's sweet, it's lovely. It's very nice. And then I've planted, just as an experiment, I've planted 2 red cabbages at the back there to see how they do. I've planted one of each, so that's a Calibos red and then a red Drummond there, just to see how they do. So we're in the conservatory now. These are what I've sown not so long ago. Now, this one here, they've all failed, but some of them were out of date, but they weren't. The cauliflowers weren't out of date there, but they didn't germinate. I've got purple sprouting broccoli there, which is what I really wanted. And I've got pak choy at the back there, which I wanted. I've got some basil there that needs sorting out. And I've got some strawberry sticks there, so I'm going to sort them out. Another white Burbank. I need water in these, looking a bit droopy. And some Romanesco, which I love. So I'll see if I can get them going. And the ones that I didn't think could germinate was the green cauliflowers. They've germinated, so that's good. So I'll get them potted on, and they'll go in when all the cauliflowers are finished. I might scatter those around the garden. And these are my cucumbers, and see how they're taking off there now. So I've got some nice cucumbers growing there. And they're going across my conservatory. And up there like that. So, these are the loofahs that I planted down my alleyway, down here. I've got big plans for this alleyway next year. The onions are all bulbing up there in the planter, yeah, as you can see. Do you know, if I wanted to produce my own, be sustainable with my own onions, we worked it out, I would need roughly about 800 onions. That's like a field, surely. So I'll never be sustainable with onions because we eat that many. I cook everything from scratch. So, and these are asparagus peas. Now I've heard a lot of comments. There's been quite a few comments in saying that they've eye all these. So thanks for that. I'm really looking forward to trying them. Not. I'm going to sort this out here. Somebody said to me I could still plant corn in pots. So do you know what I'm going to do this week? I'm going to put some corn. It's not too late, I don't think. I'm going to try it anyway. But yeah, they're still growing these, so they look all right, don't they? Now this is the front of my house, so I've got stuff in pots here, and they're all flowering lovely. These are dwarf sunflowers and calendula there, and I've got some gladioli in the middle as well. And this is an experiment as well. So in these pots, in one pot, I threw in lots of household waste, not like plastic and stuff, like your chopped up vegetable ends and all. There was lots, so probably about a third of that pot there at the bottom as vegetable choppings from your kitchen scraps. That's what's at the bottom there. Now these are courgettes. In this one I put in, there was about 12 bananas and 2 packs of grapes, and I thought I'd see which did which. So that's just fruit with sugar, so it's like a sugary fruity. And look at the leaves, that's what's happened there. So that's your kitchen scraps, vegetables. There's no fruit or anything in there, they're just vegetables for the courgettes. And that is fruit. So they don't like the fruit, do they? Very strange. I'm sure they'll come on though. These are I think these are tumbling toms at the front as well in here. So we've got some nice little tomatoes up here in there. And then look at these, don't they look lovely? I'm so pleased with this trough at the front. I think it just looks absolutely amazing. So thanks for watching. Welcome to all my new subscribers. I know I've had quite a few, so I'm really overwhelmed. Thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. I really, really appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. Don't miss out. I will be doing some cooking and stuff as the season goes on. I do little bits, I don't do lots of cooking, so it's not a cooking channel. This is a gardening channel, so I will take you along on my journey. I've got an allotment as well. If you don't know about that, then if you just have a look through my videos, you'll see that I'm having absolute nightmares with that at the moment because it's contaminated. But yeah, if you feel like having just a little watch through my videos, then feel free to do so. Welcome to the club. Hit that subscribe and you join our lovely little family that we've got going on here. Thanks for watching. Have a great week and I will see you next week. Bye for now. Bye.